Hi everybody, this is Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange in Los Angeles. I hope you and yours are well. This week we definitely need to increase our prayers and acts of kindness and charity. Thank God the Almighty allowed some of our top enemies to be eliminated, but we need to ask for greater prayers for the protection of the Jewish people around the world, wherever they may be, and the hostages and the soldiers. May the Almighty protect them all. This week's Torah portion is a combination of two portions, Matos and Masei, the concluding portions in Chumash Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, and bring up an interesting question. When I do the right thing, do I need to be concerned about what anybody else says? So I'll give you a Jewish answer, yes and no, which means as follows. We should do the right thing regardless of what people think, because the right thing is the right thing. But at the same time, it needs to be done with sensitivity and care. And sometimes we maybe need to get some advice from a rabbi how to do that, so that people can at least, may not understand, but at least swallow it well. Just a silly example, I was on a plane once, and before we took off, I smelled some smoke, and I told the stewardess, the flight attendant, about it. And a man was very upset at me. What are you doing? Now the flight's going to be delayed. I felt badly for the man, but I basically said I'd rather be safe on the ground than sorry in the air. So sometimes we don't have a choice. But we need to do the right thing and not be afraid of it. There's a story told about a man who needed to pray, and he was embarrassed to do it in front of everybody else. People were going to look at him weird. So he went to, remember the old phone booths, and he decided to pick up the receiver and pray, making believe he's making a phone call. But he got a lot of strange looks, and he didn't understand why. And he found that afterwards that there was a sign on top of the phone booth, out of order. But today, if I have to pray in the airport, I'll go to the side and a quiet place, and I'll pray there. People see, they don't understand, they think it's funny. That's okay. It's okay to do the right thing, even if people don't understand. Again, with sensitivity and care. However, in the Parsha we have a commandment of v'yisem nikiyim, that you should be vindicated, that if you're doing something that might be interpreted as wrong, that you should make sure you're acting in a way that's above suspicion. And the Talmud gives us an example. There was a very special family, the Altinas family, that they were in charge of making the incense, the spices for the temple. And it was a special ingredients that they used and had a very special fragrance. And because of that, none of their women, daughters, wives, daughter-in-laws, wore any perfume at all. And the sages praised this. Why? Because no one should think that they're using the incense that they make for personal use, and that they're using that special procedure, that they're using it for themselves. So they didn't wear any perfume at all. And the sages praised this. Some other examples of this would be, there was a very pious, special, learned, and well-respected rabbi, the Sadhana Rav. He lived in Brooklyn, and he was the mashgiach, the supervising rabbi of a matzah bakery, a bakery that baked matzah for Passover. And he did that job very carefully and well. And one day the owners wanted to sell it, and he decided he's going to buy the bakery from them. Everyone was very happy because he was a well-respected rabbi. And all of a sudden he says he has to hire a mashgiach, he has to hire a supervising agency or rabbi to watch the matzah baker. And they said, why? You were the supervisor for so many years. And he said, a business owner should not be the one who decides Jewish law questions on his business. Till now I was the supervisor, that's fine. But now I'm the owner, I have to get a rabbi. And he got a very prominent rabbi to come and supervise his matzah bakery. Another beautiful example is there was a great rabbi in Jerusalem, Rabbi Yashiv, who was a major halachic authority whose works are still studied and used today. And he had hours where he would sit and answer questions. People would come in, all different kinds of Jewish law questions, and they would come to him to speak to him. And he had hours. It was no charge. It was just people would walk in off the street. And one day, his wife, Rebbe Yashiv, wanted to talk to her husband for a minute. But there was this huge line of people. So she went and apologized to each one. It's her husband. She needs to talk to him for a minute. Do you mind if I go and I want to speak to the Rav for a minute? Do you mind if I go and I want to speak to the Rabbi for a minute? Do you mind if I go in for a minute? I need to speak to the Rabbi. She was his wife, but she did with great care and sensitivity to be able to go ahead of the line so no one should think anything badly, and on the contrary, very polite with great sensitivity to make sure that she's doing the right thing. So it's not enough just to do the right thing, but we have to try to do it in a way that people will see that we're above suspicion, and we try to do it in a way that we're vindicated. Not only that God knows that it's the right thing, but people will see that it's the right thing as well. May the Almighty continue to protect us all, and have a wonderful Shabbos. All the best.